Afternoon all. Haven't done a video in a while, but I thought it would be worth doing this one to show you a little problem that I found. So the customer said that he's got a Mark 1 Wildcat and it's got a very small slow leak. Now he's changed the obvious, he's changed the fill probe seals, the main seals on the cylinder. He's got a different reg in there. He's checked the reg, he's checked all of the seals, he's checked the delta seals, he's checked all the seals on the block, but he said it's still leaking air. So when it come in, I've ruled out the obvious. It's having a service, so all of the seals got changed. So we changed the gauge seal, the fill probe seals, the fill valve seals rather, the seals on the regulator body, the seals on the piston on the regulator, all the seals. So this has been sitting at 100 bar on the fill pressure, 75 on the reg pressure for over a week now. Has not dropped. When you do find a very small leak on these rifles, the chances are it's going to be the regulator through that little vent hole there. But like I say, this hasn't dropped for over a week now, so I'm confident it's not anything to do with this part. So we move on to the block. Now this delta seal's been changed. The seal under there, which you can use to drop the air pressure, and they've all been changed. So it led me to believe that it might be something to do with the valve, or the actual valve seat in there on the block, the silver part that you can see. So I've this is the original valve, but I've remachined and put a new PTFE head on there. So thinking that will rule out the issue. Over a couple of days, it's still leaked about 20 or so bar. So on further investigation, I thought, well, it's nothing to do with cylinder, it's nothing to do with the gauges, it's nothing to do with the reg. I'm confident it's none of the seals on the block. So it led me to believe that it might be something to do with the valve again. So I put this valve into my block on my Wildcat. Didn't leak whatsoever, so I'm happy it's not this. So it then led me to believe it was something to do with that little face in there. Now this little silver part can come out. If you're lucky, you can pick it and free it, but you don't want to be damaging it. I know this one's a little bit loose just because it's a video demonstration. Best way that I've found, if you use an aluminium welding rod, come up through the back where the hammer would go. Obviously you do need to strip the block down to do this. If you feed it through where the hammer would go, and if you guide it through carefully, you can then push up on the valve and knock it free. Now you've got a small seal on that part there, so I'll replace this seal, and again still leaking. So I'm thinking, right, what can it be now? I know it's not the valve. The head, where the valve seats, it looks lovely and shiny and clean. Wouldn't thought it would be that part, but to rule it out, what we've done, we machined this little part here, which basically is just a piece of aluminium that's been machined down to fit inside the block. It's the same diameter as that. It's got a seal on it, so what this would do, this would block off the valve, so there's no way that the air can leak anywhere. Like I say, I'm confident on all the rest of the seals, so we replaced that in there. That sits in there nice and snug. The little bolt comes out, and the valve seal goes on top. So with the cylinder attached, filled the rifle up, didn't leak. So I was happy it was not the block. So it had to be, like I say, I've ruled out the valve as well, put that in my own rifle. It had to be this part here. Now again, we replaced that seal, it weren't an issue. So it led me to believe it was something to do with that part there, the slightly beveled edge where the valve sits in. Now what I do on my rifles, I give that a slight taper, a very, very slight taper, so as them two parts come together, it creates a better seal. So let's concentrate on cleaning that edge up there. Now there's a couple of ways you can do it. If you're lucky and you've got a lathe, it's the easiest way. If you haven't, I'll show you another way in a second. Let me just jump you across to the lathe. So what you want to do, ideally, you don't want a 3-jaw chuck or 4-jaw. You want a collet holder, because what it will do, it will grip around the edges nice and tight and it won't cause any damage. So we're just going to place that in there. Do it up, doesn't have to be really tight, just finger tight. And then if you have one of these, it's a little cotton head, you find them on sort of Dremel kits, you can put that in the tailstock holder. Just get you over there. Right, what you want to do is use some ultra fine grinding paste. Has to be very fine. You're going to load up the head and inside. Spin the lathe up. Load it back up. And what you're looking to do is to polish the inside of that little valve seat. So it's nice and clean and nice and polished for a nice new surface. And the other way you can do it, which you're able to do this, should I say, is to put that small part in a drill. Little Q-tip, cotton wool bud, again some ultra fine grinding paste. You can even use some very fine abrasive toothpaste as well. Spin the drill. Now what you're looking to do is to just make a nice clean, fresh, new face. So when your valve goes back in, it will hopefully make a nice new seat for you. Don't forget, replace that small O-ring as well, and you should be fine. Thanks for watching.